everybody. I usually come with the crazy energy, but man, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I came across this video today. Old to you, new to me, probably old to you. But a video I came across where this dad was challenged in the state of California and challenged in this other state. I had glanced and seen it on my TikTok, and I said, man, it's one of the things I feel like that I should bring to the light and have a, we should have a discussion. Now, first and foremost, if you're very sensitive, I advise you to now click off of this video. I am not a hateful person. I do not put hate or promote hate towards anybody. I'm just a right and wrong person. What's right and what's wrong, black and white. You dig what I'm saying? You mean? Notesdagawd, aka the guardian angel, here just to give you the real and awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, new entertainment thing I'm doing is, and I'm trying to push is educating and elevating. We're gonna have our fun throughout the week when we react to the other streamer videos or what's popping in the algorithm. But I feel like today we got to get a little deep in the story. So I ain't gonna waste no more tizzle on the clizzle. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, guys. Again, it's a video I seen on my TikTok. You know what I'm saying? That comments was going crazy, was popping on my algorithm. I had seen a glance of it. I thought it was crazy. And we just gonna be the judge again. I'm not a hater. I'm just a person that's a right and wrong is wrong. I have, just to clarify before we get into this, I know people that are gay in the LGBT community that are super cool, super kind-hearted, super nice, good people. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm hating or coming anyway. Only thing I'm defending is because I have a child, and when other individuals and adults and organizations are pushing this on our children, this is where I say it's drawing the line, because you're not going to manipulate the kids to think that it's okay to change your whole identity as a child when it comes to your private parts, or when it comes to your personality, when it comes to anything, period. But like I said, I ain't gonna keep yapping and gapping. You dig what I'm saying? So here we go.
You're a boy, right?
No, I'm a girl.
Who told you you were a girl?
Mommy.
When did she tell you were a girl?
Because I love girls.
Oh, I see. So mommy told you you were a girl?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
The state of California says that I have to pay for the chemical and physical castration of my son as child support. I'm not going to pay that child support. I'm not going to pay anything to hurt my son.
And that means you'll be going to prison?
California is going to send me to prison for that.
Dang.
So, Jeff, you are going through something, you've been going through something that is probably a father's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Bomba clot wallahi.
Just tell me when this started.
Started when my son was about 2 years old. My ex-wife, who's a pediatrician in Capel, Texas, started thinking that he might be a girl and started trying to transition him to a girl. And when I tried to put a stop to that, she filed for divorce. Wow. And used her relationships with care providers to force me out of my house. And so I moved about a mile up the road from my sons. She filed for divorce formally.
Wow.
And I had 50-50 custody of him. And just after his third birthday, I took the first iPhone video I'd ever taken. And it was him telling me that he thought he was a girl because his mommy tells him a girl. You can go on YouTube and just search for "Mommy Says I'm a Girl." You'll find that video. She was telling him things like, she would put him into timeout and say, "Don't be a boy. The monsters only eat boys," and weird things like this.
What?
And she began to then socially transition him, and that led to a titanic battle in the state of Texas that culminated in me getting the procedures outlawed in Texas. And the political establishment in Texas allowing her to come to California so she could still castrate him even though I got it outlawed.
Wow.
And your son, you have two sons.
I have two sons, James and Jude. They're twins. They're not identical. James is the one that she's transitioning.
And was there any sign in James that he was open to this or showing signs that he wanted to be anything other than
Well, you know, it's interesting. So he was directly asked that by counselors and stuff. But let me just tell you about one of the fundamental facts of the case that a lot of people find shocking. James never presented as a girl with anyone but his mom. At church, with me, with his friends, he dressed as a boy and called himself James. He only presented as a girl with his mom.
With his mom.
And I asked him one time, why are you doing that? And he just flat out told me, he said, well, mommy doesn't love me if I'm not a girl. And that's
The definition of manipulation at its finest. That is sad. Mommy's not going to, she wanted a girl this whole time, so she wouldn't manipulate and confuse and try to transform her son into a girl. That right there, people, is, I don't care what you say, that is pure evil.
what he told the counselors too. James is a very talented boxer. I'm a boxer, my dad was a boxer.
Wow.
James is extremely talented. Jude's a wrestler, but James is a very talented boxer. Olympic talent scouts were looking at him. He's that good. And they backed away from him once this all got started. He has all boyfriends. Now, he has some things that you might say are feminine. He likes art. He particularly likes painting and pastels.
Nothing
My
wrong
son
with that,
Jude
player.
likes sculpture, you know. James
You're
is
creative.
also
I like that.
more
That's-
extroverted and is willing to play with almost anybody, you know. And he will definitely play with girls. He'll play tag with girls. He'll build things with girls. He has no problem like hanging around with girls.
My man. Tag with the girls. My man.
But in terms of having a desire to be a girl, he consistently told me for 10 years that he had no desire to be a girl. He told the court-appointed counselor that he was embarrassed to wear dresses to school. He was getting too old for that and didn't want to wear dresses. And they initiated a CPS investigation against me for forcing him to be a boy, in my 7th CPS investigation.
Have you have contact with your sons now?
No, I'm disallowed all contact with my sons.
You're not allowed to even contact them.
No. I'll tell you how this all sort of built up.
But you have a law to go and take somebody or keep somebody from their kids because they're fighting for them to be what they were born when God gave them birth and blew the soul into the body. The people that made this the law, I have a beautiful harmonization that I've queued up from my ladies, from me to you, and it goes a little something like this.
Started transitioning him, you know, really hardcore at 3. I mean, where she presented him to the world with a fake girl's name and everything. This, of course, would have been an important component in the divorce that was going on. So we get to 2017, and we have our divorce trial, and we had a custody evaluator. His name is Blake Mitchell. He practices out of Frisco, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas.
Hey, first and foremost, shout out to my man getting a divorce. I'm gonna give you super duper max aura for getting a divorce, because most people would try to get that man some aura, the full potential aura, all aura, brother. You know what I'm saying? For getting up out of there. That is a poison situation with that relationship, brother.
And he asked me, what is your top issue? And I said, my top issue is she's tampering with my son's gender identity. So he charges me $60,000 and does a 1-year investigation of my
$60,000.
family, interviewing my children over and over again, everything, and determines that she was not transitioning my son to a girl. He straight up lied to the court and said that I had made a false accusation against her for saying that she was trying to transition my son to a girl. And on that basis, I lost 50-50 custody and got less than standard possession time. So I basically got, 4 days 4 to 6 days a month with my sons. So that's how the...
Wow. So let's get this straight. You know what I mean? The lawyer that he paid 60 pro bonos to lied to the court and said that it wasn't what it was. He was not in his corner, and basically flipped it on him to the point where it's man can hardly see his kids and everything like that. Man, oh man, all I'm saying is that lawyer, hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, works for. X-Files, those X-Files, we already know. You know what I mean? There's no way in the world you can't tell me and work for them posters. There's no way that you see this situation and you get almost close to 100 grand to work for somebody and you lie. I feel bad for you, my brother.
Divorce ended with the psychologist just outright lying. Now, I've been lucky with these psychologists that lie. I've been able to prove they've lied, so the court actually set aside his report. But that's what he actually told the court in his report. So she then starts really ramping up it again, and now he's wearing makeup to school. He's using the girls' restroom.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
Not wearing the makeup in the restroom.
What's that, brother?
Oh, man, the makeup in the restroom and the dresses. Come on, man. Man.
How about new?
At his elementary school, which was Pinkerton Middle School in Coppell, Texas. I got that school shut down. That school doesn't exist anymore in Coppell. They shut down.
I know that's right.
Got rid of the principal there. Her name is Miss Mickelson, who's the one that really transitioned my son. And I found out after 2.5 years, they had been transitioning my son secretly behind my back.
What?
So I would bring my son to Pinkerton Middle School in Coppell in boys' clothes, because he wears boys' clothes with me, and they would give him a dress and tell him to use the girls' bathroom. And when I found that out, I filed grievances against the public school.
Insane.
And of course, they exonerated themselves, saying that under their nicknames policy, they're allowed to call him whatever he wants, and they're allowed to put him in dresses because he wants to wear it and it doesn't harm him in any way.
Bam!
Boom shakalaka!
Under the nickname policy. Let's break this down, people. Let's stop acting like we being blind to the fact that they're really pushing this agenda and really trying to manipulate and poison and just deteriorate the kids' mind as they are young.
And so there was just no place to go. It's virtually impossible in Texas to sue a school district because they have sovereign immunity.
Wow.
So this kept ramping up with my ex-wife until finally I look in the medical records with my ex-wife chose a pediatrician, Dr. Jennifer Pape, in Flower Mound, Texas, where I live. And Dr. Pape, in the medical records, it says that her and Miss Georgilis, my ex-wife, were planning on chemically castrating James at age 8 or 9. That's plain black and white in the medical records. So obviously I start to vociferously oppose this. I try to get a new pediatrician. I have to go to court to try to get a new pediatrician. That leads her to file another lawsuit against me for sole control of James.
So they were, at what age were they looking to do this?
At age 8 or 9, they were going to chemically castrate him.
8 or 9, chemically castrate a kid behind the father's back without his consent. Even lost the court battle because the lawyer lied, because he knew that if he was defending a father, which they know the higher ups that owns and runs the court government system, that lawyer would have put a dent into what they've been trying to work on for all of this time. So they said, you know what, we're going to pay you more to lie in this court and turn on this father, because if you win, it's going to be a domino effect, and it's going to be hard for us to post the agenda up on other people. But hold on, wait, there's more. Guys, what you think about that? What you think about that? But hold on, wait, guys. There is more. It's a little bit more I want to watch. He gets a little bit more deep into the situation at hand.
I said,
so, you know what I'm saying? Without further ado, let's get right into it.
what is your medical justification for amputating healthy body parts from children? She said, if they cause psychological distress, they're not healthy body parts.
What?
Opposing counsel was a woman, was in the room. She threw her pen on the floor and quit the case. She left. The pattern that you
Wow.
see is
Wow.
with boys, it's mothers transitioning prepubescent boys, and they put them on puberty blockers. And there's a simple reason that the gender doctors have to put these kids on puberty blockers. And the reason is puberty is the cure for gender dysphoria.
Facts. Say it one more again, baby.
Boom shakalaka!
Puberty is the key to what he said, the memory difference. It's what gives you the testosterone. It's what gives you the estrogen. It's what makes you and molds you into the emotional female. It's what makes you and molds you into that masculine male. When they giving these kids from the rip, like I said, the what doctors? Those X-Files.
Puberty is when you come to grips with your gender role and you either become gay or a boy, right? 98% of the time, they just become
that's when
normal
the
boys.
testosterone kicks in.
That's right.
And you become
That's right.
a boy who chases girls
That's right.
Wow.
for the rest of our lives.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so they have to block puberty to extend the gender dysphoria in order to get them into the pipeline for the surgeries. And so there's a money pipeline with these clinics. Each child that goes on puberty blockers becomes a $4.5 million lifetime income stream for the clinics. And they're residual income streams, so that they can have hundreds of them at the same time. So they're making hundreds of dollars a year, hundreds of millions of dollars a year off of these kids. So they block puberty to stop the cure, because puberty is the cure for gender dysphoria. And I believe puberty is actually a human right. Puberty is when you become fully human.
Facts.
Puberty is when your brain matures. You get a rational faculty, an adult rational faculty.
Facts.
It's when you come to grips with your roles and your duties in society, which is the marker of a mature adult person. Someone who can assume those duties in a benevolent way, right?
Facts.
It's when your body matures. As you know, what a shame it would be for these young men. I mean, they'll never know. These young men that went on puberty blocks will never know the grace and power the male body is capable of in its youth. They'll never know that. And what a shame to miss that. That confidence that comes from that carries on into middle age. And that's where you get entrepreneurship and the risk-taking in America. It's from the physical experiences. That's why sports are important in America for men. You know, it builds a certain kind of character. All of that stuff is what puberty is. And so I consider it a human right. It's essentially denying a child the full development of their rational faculties, their emotional faculties, and their physical faculties. And so I think it's an actual human rights violation. So anyway, this thing just like goes crazy, right? Where she's trying to transition him. They're talking about castrating him at age 8 or 9. So I immediately go full court press in Texas to get this made illegal. Now, it took me 6 years to do it, and hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money. The entire Texas Republican establishment fought me on it. They did not want to take a vote on this. And the reason for that may surprise you. The transgender movement was started by Republicans, was not started by Democrats. Yeah, we could talk about that. The donor class of the Republican Party did not want this outlawed. That's why all these Republican governors were vetoing these bills when they would pass them, and in Arkansas and Alabama, Mississippi, and so forth. So I immediately start lobbying to do this, and I have to use grassroots organizing because I can't rely on the moral conscience of the legislature because they're being paid by these donors that don't want it made illegal. So that's the first thing. And then we go to trial in 2019, 255th District Court under Judge Kim Cooks. The top transgender experts in the world show up in this little courtroom, worldwide media. So I'm an Orthodox Christian. So James's story went all over Eastern Europe, even into Russia, all over the place, because these are Orthodox countries that are formally Christian countries. Their state religion is Orthodox Christianity. And they think of Texas as being in the Bible Belt. So they're like, how does this happen to an Orthodox boy in Texas? Like, it didn't make sense. So it was a story that was that had legs all over these Orthodox countries. So we had international media there. It was a circus. So I had Dr. Levine as my expert. He founded the first gender clinic in America in Johns Hopkins University in 1974. And after 4 years, in 1978, they shut their clinic down because their data showed that their treatments were harming patients. And we know now, the data that's coming out of Children's Hospital here in LA, the data that the University of Texas at Austin, which is as liberal as Berkeley, by the way, just put out a comprehensive meta-study showing that these treatments actually harm patients. The CAS report in the UK, which is the largest systematic review ever done in any psychological discipline in the history of psychology, found it harms patients. Every meta-study and systematic review finds that these treatments don't work and they actually harm patients.
Thank you. The kids,
So
bro.
he's the one who testified for me. They had Johanna Olsen Kennedy, who at that time was running LA Children's Hospital Gender Clinic. She doesn't anymore because of a huge scandal.
Huge scandal. What might that be, you say? I'm just saying, moving forward, you know, if the guardian angel above ever blessed me with some more chickadees and some more of guardians and juniors and Juliets to run around, when it comes to having my baby in a hospital, you know I'm going to say,
How about no?
okay.
In which she has been hiding data. She was given an NIH grant to study outcomes for children on these treatment programs, and she showed no benefit in her data for the treatment programs, and she chose not to release the data because she said it would be used by opponents of transgender medicine. That's the state of science in the transgender world. So she came in, I deposed her, I did a video deposition with her, and I asked her one question, and the other side dropped her as an expert. And then here's the question I asked her, and
What'd you say,
her
brother?
answer says everything you need to know about the other side of this issue.
What she said?
I said, what is your medical justification for amputating healthy body parts from children? She said, if they cause psychological distress, they're not healthy body parts. Opposing counsel was a woman, was in the room. She threw her pen on the floor and quit the case.
You know why she threw her pen on the floor and quit the case? Because my ladies got something queued up for you. You said they cause psychological harm. You are an idiot. That's all I gotta say about that.
She left. It was so disgusting. And they were not going to put her in front of a Texas jury saying that. So they dropped her. So I won the 2019 trial. I got 50-50 custody. I got no child support. But the most important thing is I got a check on all medical procedures.
Bomba clot wallahi.
You know what I'm saying? All praises to the Most High. You always going to go through a fight. You always going to go through a battle. When we believe in what we believe in and we righteously stand on, God always makes it a tough battle. He never makes it easy. He always makes it a tough battle. But when you go through that fight and you stand 10 toes down and you in the right, the higher power, the Almighty is always going to make a way. Can I get a one more Allahu Akbar, please? All right now.
So she could not chemically castrate him at age 8 or 9.
All right.
Do you think the mom kind of brainwashed him into thinking this was something that was
There's no
acceptable?
question in my mind about it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it
100%.
seems like.
Yeah. I mean, when I told you, when I asked him that question, why did you do this? And he says, Mommy doesn't love me if I'm not a girl. So imagine you have kids that you're that close with, and you're put in a chair, and a judge brings your children into the room and initially threatens to mutilate them, to castrate them, and begins to teach them all kinds of things that are completely against your ethical beliefs, totally against your ethical beliefs. And the children are punished harshly if they don't assent to these crazy things. And imagine eventually they chemically castrate your kids, and you got to sit there, and the judge and a police officer are watching you intently. And if at any time you show anger, or you stand up, or you gesture in a strong way, they're going to conclude that you are a domestic abuser. And they're going to arrest you and put you in jail for domestic abuse. So you have to sit there and remain totally calm in the slow motion of your child. That's what it's like. That's what it's been like for me.
It's horrifying.
I see the end result that's coming, and if I am too masculine in my response, they're going to say, you're, they tried so hard with my sons, the counselors, court-appointed counselors. They tried for years with my sons. They're like, isn't Mr. Younger an authoritarian parent? They ask leading questions like that of my sons. It's in the records. Isn't Mr. Younger an authoritarian? Doesn't he tell you what to do all the time? And of course, I'm just the opposite. My sons were like, no, Dad doesn't have any rules. They're like, what? No rules in the house? Like, I don't have rules, no.
Gotcha.
Dad just tells us to be reasonable with people. And if we're reasonable with people, we don't have to have rules.
Bomba clot wallahi.
He did have to make one rule. I remember James saying, Dad did have to make one rule. We broke 2 iPads, so now we have to keep our iPads on tables. They can't be on the floor. But that's the only rule we have. And so they could never pin that on me. Wow. But that's another strategy, is they weaponize masculinity, right? So I had to reteach myself how to talk in court. I talk like a woman in court. I literally got female attorneys and emulated them, learned how to talk like them.
Wow.
Because the masculine way that a boxer like me relates to another boxer, you're not only going to lose your kids, they're going to put you under a domestic violence restraining order. And you're going to lose your passport, you're going to lose your licensure in the state. If you're a stockbroker, you're going to lose your license. You can't possess a firearm, lifetime. You can't possess a firearm. They're going to do that to you if you're too masculine. So I had to retrain all that. So not only imagine you're watching your kid being abused, but now you got to start acting like a woman and be very passive.
I did drunk.
Because it could get much worse for your kid, actually. They could remove you in such a way that they could give you a lifetime restraining order and you could never contact your kids again for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
So there's a chance you might be going to prison for this, right?
Yeah, I could tell you that I'm definitely going to be going to prison because the current position of the law is that I have to pay for the chemical and physical castration of my son as medical child support. And
ain't no fucking
I did drunk.
he now has to pay that. They done got so far. Hold on, gang. They got so far into this. The government is trying to control this so much, trying to slow down the population, try to manipulate and kill these people brain cells so bad that they have a law now that is in the child support law that he has to pay because of child support in the child support he has to pay for it? Oh my God, what kind of world are we living in? Is this true? Man, we're gonna do our research, bro. Pause this video if you can. You know what I'm saying? Do your research, see if that's true, because I'm damn sure gonna do that once I'm done. You know what I mean? Reacting to this, y'all, for sure. That is wild. That is so wild.
I told you the 3 principles. We've gone through that. I'm never going to hurt my son. I'm not going to let my resources be used to hurt my son. So I'm just not going to pay that child support. I'm not doing it. And eventually, I'll be prosecuted for it. And in California, I can get up to 2 years in slammer. So that's the kind of pressure and emotional boiler, is the way I would describe it, that you're under.
So understand again, guys. They worked the law around so much. Those X-Files guys that worked for the government, works for the law, pinned him to the wall so much and knew that he had a clear-cut case not to lose. And they wanted to push this agenda so much that they put the law in the child support that he has to pay. Literally, when he pays for child support, he has to pay a certain dividend towards that cash straight. That's insane. Like, you're forcing them to change your child without your consent. That has to be a law within itself. That has to be illegal within itself. That has to be so, like, disgraceful, just so unhumanly ungodly in itself. Man, God, have mercy on whoever the mom is. Have mercy on your soul.
It's pretty intense. And when I'm arguing in court, and I gave up using lawyers years ago because the bar is a cartel, and members of the bar are never going to challenge judges on these fundamental rights issues. That's why one of the reasons we never get really rights issues heard is lawyers won't make them. They won't make them to judges because it's challenging the judge. So I went pro se a long time ago, and I've been much more effective pro se, but I have to sit there and make...
You're representing yourself?
Oh, yeah, I've been doing that for 7 years, yeah.
Great job.
And I've beat some of the top law firms in America. I mean, I don't think it's that... The judges are supposed to give you more leeway as pro se. Like, if you make a mistake, they're supposed to say, hey, did you mean to do this, or can we do it this way? They're allowed to do that with pro se. They're not allowed to do that with a bar attorney. But in practice, what actually happens is they never tell you your mistakes. In fact, they try to trick you. And family court judges in particular are notorious for getting parents to voluntarily waive all of their constitutional rights. So I'll give you an example of that in Texas. So judge entered this order for supervised visitation and all this, and she very politely says, Mr. Younger, I really think we can, if you go to these supervised visits, we can get this order removed and all this stuff, and it's all lies. Judges are just actors. And she says, so are you prepared to sign the order now? And I said, well, Judge, I'm not going to sign the order. And she said, Mr. Younger, this is a court of law, and this is an order from the court. And I said, well, then you need to sign it. It's your order. What she's trying to trick me into doing was signing approval of the order. Now I can't appeal it, and I've voluntarily given her jurisdiction over all the matters listed. Okay, that's one of the tricks they do. So she said, well, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have another hearing. I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll agree that it has the form of a judicial order. I'll agree to the form of the order, but I don't agree to any of the content. So I sent us the form, but not the content. And she was forced to just put it out there without my signature. Most parents will sign those documents. Most lawyers who are representing parents will sign the document. And if your lawyer signs the document, you assented to it. So actually, most of the things that happen in family court that violate parents' rights, parents are tricked into giving up their rights. And I never did that, and that's what drove them crazy. And that's why they eventually had to let my son move out of Texas.
What a nightmare for you.
Yeah. Did
James show any signs of wanting to be a female around you?
Never. In fact, I had a dress at home in his closet, and I taught him mathematics through woodworking and stuff. So we built their beds and everything, and so they had their own room, and they had the furniture was all custom, stuff. And they had this. They tricked out the closet with how they hang their stuff up and all that. And he had a dress in there. And I said, look, if you want to experiment wearing a dress, you can do that here in the house. It's not a problem. You can do it anytime you want. A few weeks go by, and I hear this noise. I get up.
Hold on there, Fur. Hold on there. Flag on the play, brother. Now, with all due respect, I see what you're trying to do. I don't agree with it at all. I'm still rocking with you, but that threw me off just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just going to lose just a little bit of weight. Just a little bit, brother. Just a little bit.
I have a bed. My master bedroom's on the downstairs floor. I get up, and James is going back up. The light goes off, and he threw the dress away in the middle of the night when he thought I wasn't looking. So I never saw any of these things. And even when I would go to, and I have tons of video of this, I'll go to pick my son up for my visitation periods from my ex-wife's house. He comes out of her house in boys' clothes.
I mean, you could argue that he's doing that just to please his dad.
Yeah, definitely. But what it shows is he's comfortable in boys' clothes at his mom's house and his dad's house.
Do you think the mom kind of brainwashed him into thinking this was something that was?
Oh, there's no question in my mind about
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I told you, when I asked him that question, why do you do this? And he says, Mommy doesn't love me if I'm not a girl.
Man, oh man, that was crazy. What do y'all think about that? Again, my honest opinion, I think that is too much. I feel like the mom is doing way too much. You cannot force a kid to do something. You can't tell a kid. That is so evil to tell a kid that you don't love them, especially if their gender is a boy. That mommy don't love you is not a girl. You're gonna get hate farmed for life. So it is what it is at this point with me. I just tell my truth and I just show y'all the truth of what's going on. And they have laws that literally that you can have child support written into your situation with your baby mom, whatever, that they're gonna force you that if she wins or she want to change your child's gender, like that's insane. But anyway, long video, very educational, very elevating to the mind. Y'all know it's aware out there. He shut that down in Texas. Shout out to him again. But hey, we're going to keep trying to give you some more educating and elevating videos. So, you know what I mean, we can react to. We're going to have the funny videos later. We're going to have the entertainment videos later. But hey, we always got to lock in and educate and let these people know what's going on out in this world. You feel me? I'm about to get up out of here because I got things to do. Now I'm talking about? Holla at a player.
The light skin one. Notesdagawd.